where do you feel like you're at in your jiu-jitsu journey?
I've got Veruca's on my feet, if you want to know. That's why I've got socks on.
Why are you mentioning that? Oh yeah, I've got syphilis as well. Nicky Rod of CJI versus Gordon Ryan of this ADCC just gone. I think Nicky beats him.
Speech that Martin Stapleton did for us. Say you want to lose weight. If you just say I want to lose weight, you're not relating it to anything that's actually like an emotional trigger. Why do I want to lose weight? I want to be fit so I can go and play football with my son at a weekend.
As soon as people start talking about jiu-jitsu in a street fight, it's like, oh no, it's not effective because if you pull guard, you'll get your head kicked in. Right, well, I won't pull guard then. No, but I think it'd be an interesting perspective to have Jim on today. He got mentioned quite a lot last week.
He got fucking roasted last week.
So, I just think it'd be an interesting perspective because, not to say that we're Billy Big Bollocks or anything, but you're a blue belt, you've been training for a while now, I'm a purple belt. There might be some stuff that we've genuinely forgot about from the perspective of like a newer white belt / beginner. I know you've been training a bit longer, so you're not technically a beginner. Yeah. But this is like your first full year of training. Would you say we're coming up to that now? Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, we were talking, weren't we, last week of the different tips for beginners. But like, it's good to hear it from a beginner's perspective.
Yeah, of course, because we could just be being completely ignorant to a lot of...
I think I've got early onset dementia as it is, so I could have just forgot what it's like to be a white belt. And to be fair, like my struggles as a white belt, which we were discussing last week in terms of like general like athleticism and competing in sports before, like you might have different struggles than what I had. Like I pick things up quite quickly, I learn quite quickly. I can go and pick up a sport, and within doing it in a few weeks, like I'll be all right at the sport. Like I'll be able to like hold my own in a way, whereas. Not saying that you can't do that, but if you've never competed in sports, or you've never been in that situation before, then it might be different for you.
Well, that's it though. Like, obviously, I did boxing for a bit, but other than that, like sports-wise.
Well, I was saying the same thing last week. The only sports I've ever done are combat sports. Yeah. I think combat sports are the only ones I did really as a kid. And martial arts. I mean, I don't know whether I'm naturally a bit athletic or I'm just attentive. I think one thing that massively helped me actually is me watching martial arts all the time. I watched the UFC religiously for 10 years, basically. I watched it. Like, I remember I did boxing, kickboxing for a while, for like 2-3 years. I did karate and then I had a big break. But throughout the entire period when I was watching it, when I was training, I was watching the UFC and a lot of boxing as well, to be fair. And then during the break that I had of about 4 years, I was constantly watching stuff as well. I've always loved watching martial arts and stuff like that, whether it's jiu-jitsu, MMA, and I do think that massively helps. I mean, it'll probably depend on whether you're a visual learner as well, because I think I picked up a lot from doing that, really.
Me and Jim are just going to be fighting over the microphone now. I'll come and cozy up next to you. I mean, that actually makes perfect sense as well. Like when I learned to ski, I know it's like different, but I did a beginner's lesson. It was like a taster session, really, a beginner's lesson. We learned to like snowplow, which is where you literally just point your skis inwards. And then I went with a guy called Jack. Well, you know Jack. We used to work with Jack Parker.
Yeah.
And he's obviously a skiing instructor. And then we went on the big slope, and he was just like, "Oh, you'll be all right. And I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll be fine." So we went on the big slope. Sorry, there's a fucking pube on the mic. We went on the big slope, and the first time I started doing snowplow, and then I just fucking shot down to the bottom, and my eyes were fucking streaming. I was like, oh, skiing down well fast. But then I thought, all right, okay, next time. So I got on the ski lift, and as I was going up to the top, I was watching everyone. I was watching the good people skiing. I was thinking, how are they doing that? How are they turning? How are they doing this? And every time I went down the slope after that, I was better and better and better. And it's because I was watching how other people were doing it. And I genuinely believe, like, if you just watch someone and just try and replicate what they're doing, it's not as hard as it like comes across.
I think there's an interesting quote, and it's by a guy called Miyamoto Musashi. He was a samurai, and he says, if you know the way broadly, you see it in all things. And it basically what it means is like if you get good at one thing, then you can apply the same things that you've used to get good at that one thing and see it in other things to get better. So it's like the same way that you did that with skiing. Probably helped you the fact that you'd played a lot of football before, that you watched people like take free kicks or penalties or.
I mean, I used to rollerblade, didn't I?
Yeah.
So that's on two, fucking balancing on two things that move.
Yeah.
And obviously at the skate park, we used to just stand there and just watch people doing the spine or something at the skate park, and I'd be like, I want to fucking do that.
Same kind of concept as like when you see MMA fighters go into boxing. Obviously, MMA fighters aren't as specialised as boxers in boxing, but because they literally punch people in the head in their sport, as I say, they're not specialised. They're going to be better than the average person as a boxer, obviously, because they're already a professional athlete or whatever. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Did you see the UFC this weekend, by the way?
No.
It was at the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, the fucking glow-up thing.
Oh, it was crazy.
No way.
It was crazy.
Did they have the highlights on the actual screen around
they had a big show. It was mental.
Yeah.
They had like, you have to look at it. It was Sean O'Malley and Marab. How do you say his second name? Davalishvili. I think I've done that all right there, actually. Yeah, but they had like a bit. It was for Mexican Independence Day. I don't know. Day of the Dead. I don't know.
That's a big Mexican one.
Did you see it?
I didn't know.
I'll hold it if you want.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to fucking shuffle forward a little bit to the end of these mats. I feel like you're trying to get further and further away from me. We can be close to each other.
Need to invest in a third mic if Jim's going to be a fixture in this podcast. But no, it was all like the skulls and that. So I think it was Day of the Dead, but it looked insane.
Fuck's Day of the Dead?
They just celebrate the dead, essentially. I'm not.
Fucking Halloween.
Have you seen?
Certain themes that are similar.
Is it Spectre or James Bond when he goes to Mexico?
Start,
have you seen Spectre, the James Bond film?
I don't know. I think so, but
it's
probably forgot about it.
Well, they have it in that. It's basically they all get dressed up in like. It was similar to that Halloween thing we went to that time. Do you remember when?
What Halloween thing?
The one at Bowlers.
Oh shit, that was sick. That.
Yeah.
It was like a band sort of thing.
Yeah, and there was like loads of mad shit going on.
Yeah.
Similar to that.
Yeah, that was a good day.
It was a good day. Yeah, it was.
We won't. Swiftly moving on. We're definitely going off topic here. We can save the Halloween episode for a few weeks' time.
Yeah, we can. We can.
Fucking hell, we'll have to dress up for it.
That's actually a good idea. You know who I want you to dress up as?
Yes, I know. That can be arranged. Oh no, because we had a paranormal podcast.
I don't know.
We had a paranormal podcast, didn't we? And we spoke of this one in particular individual. And then I checked on the fucking podcast like a few weeks after, and it had been removed.
That's true.
It is, yeah.
Maybe just don't disclose who you are. We'll just sit there.
All right, I'll just be a bald misogynist.
Yeah. For now, we can
make it extremely obvious.
We can refer to it as Dr. Evil for now.
Hey, he's not evil. Anyway.
Well, he's bald.
What are your struggles as a white belt?
Well, he's bald.
So are you finding that, going back to the topic of the video, because we've gone on to Halloween, now we've gone on to fucking the bald Mr. Evil, Dr. Evil, what did you call him?
Dr. Evil.
I don't even know who that
Just
is.
don't mention his real name.
Yeah, we're not.
He's like Candyman.
Censored.
I'm looking in the mirror as well, technically. I can't say his name 3 times. He'll
might
turn
end
up
up
and call me a failure for saying his name 3 times in the mirror.
You might end up owning like a webcam business or something. You go home and you've inherited a webcam business from a family member you didn't even know existed. Oh, fucking hell. Right, year into jiu-jitsu then.
Yep.
You're still shit.
Well,
It's a bit harsh.
No, I'm only joking.
Oh,
You
I
are
do
definitely
have
getting better.
struggles.
No, but we all do. Like, in the grand scheme of things, we're all fucking horrific at jiu-jitsu.
Gordon Ryan could sit here and say it to all of us.
Yeah, and
Easily.
Do you reckon Gordon Ryan could beat all 3 of us in a jiu-jitsu round?
Be tough, wouldn't it? It's got to be tough.
So
3.
All right, he's got 10 minutes. There's 3 of us, and he has to submit every single one of us in 10 minutes.
1-on-1?
No.
All 3?
No, 1-on-1, he'd fucking absolutely piss his pants all over us. But if it was 3-on-1, we get to obviously try and submit him 3-on-1, but he has to defend 3-on-1 and try and submit each one of us within 10 minutes. Who do you reckon wins?
I don't know. I just feel like it depends how he goes about it. I feel like.
If he's fucking trying his fucking hardest.
Can we punch him?
Well, no. It's not combat jiu-jitsu. which he can't even punch in anyway.
Yeah, slap him. But, I mean, now, to be honest with you, I think Nicky Rod would probably rail us worse than him.
You fucking want to get railed by Nicky Rod, you.
No, I'm just saying, I think it's his style, because Gordon has a more of a slow burner type of style. Do you know
Would you not think that would probably benefit him more? In terms of, I think like,
Nicky,
if three of us were on top of Gordon Ryan,
yeah,
right, it's getting weird this episode already.
he'd probably enjoy it by the sounds of what he's into.
You fucking would if it was Nicky Rod. You'd pull your fucking shorts down and bend over.
Do we really want to get into how you'd beat Gordon Ryan in a fight? Speaking of...
Right, we can relate to this. We can relate to this, but with being careful with the words that we use. We had a conversation, didn't we, in a restaurant? Actually, it was an Italian restaurant, and just to put it into context, how it wasn't the fucking time or place. You're right, Jim.
Where are you off?
Fucking dada.
Just so you're aware, that's not going to be the best angle.
See right up his bloody shorts. No, I mean, we were in a restaurant, weren't we? And at the time of being in that restaurant, someone actually proposed to the fiance when we were in there.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, well.
Christ, what are you two talking about?
Well, I know, that's what I mean. Like, we were in this restaurant, and it was quite it wasn't upmarket, because we were both fucking looking down our nose at the person proposing, thinking, why the fuck would you do it in here? But anyway, he proposed to her, and then fucking next minute, these are like, Gordon Ryan could do whatever he wants to you. And I'm like, nah, could he fuck? And like, they were like, no, he could do whatever he wants to you. Insinuating.
Yeah.
Do whatever he wants to me.
We were more specific with what he could do.
Yeah. And we'll leave that up to the eyes of the mind of the viewers. So, I mean, my defence, I said that I'd be sweating for a start, but then they were like, oh yeah, well that'd be easier. Like, obviously it'd be more like slippery. So I just said I'd fucking twerk and he wouldn't be able to like aim it in the right direction. Do you reckon? Not like my shit hot twerker or anything, but.
Well, go on, let's see it.
I ain't fucking twerking for you. Not yet. That's for the Halloween special.
Alright, we'll hold you to that then.
Alright.
Well, if it works, it works. I mean, it's going to look a bit.
Depends though, if you went too high and then went past, it might encourage it. Anyway, fucking hell. This episode's taking a fucking dive, isn't it? Right.
It's a laugh at least.
It's fucking stupid. No, what we were saying, white belts, come fucking closer. You'll be over there at the fucking hybrid mats in a minute. Do I smell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I do actually.
I'm the only one that hasn't rolled, so I
smell like fucking pies every morning. I wake up stinking of meat and potato pie.
I'm still fucking fat.
Fuck off. Why do you think my leg's up here covering the air?
Covering the rolls.
Notice how I've kept my hoodie on for every single one so far.
What I do though before every session, I keep really trying to get onto like asking Jim about his struggles as a white belt, but I just fucking keep going on tangents. What I do before every session, let me just explain this, right? Because I did this today and I was fucking well disappointed. I don't know why, because it happens every week. Every Monday, I eat in a severe calorie deficit of like 900 calories, and then I come in the Tuesday morning and weigh myself, and I weigh the same, and I'm fucking pissed off every time I weigh myself. I got in this morning, I was like 89.5, and I don't know why I expect to weigh any less, just because I've had one day of being in a calorie deficit, but then I've drank pretty much every day since last week.
It's similar to how you trained once at the gym and then said you were going to compete in a bodybuilding competition.
That never happened. It's fucking like that.
No, well, in terms, let's get back onto jiu-jitsu, because to be fair, there has been some stuff that I've seen recently that is interesting. A match got announced last night.
Oh yeah.
Nicky Rod's going against Pixley. Do you know from Pettigo? Do you know from Daisy Fresh?
Oh no, I saw that. Yeah.
Pixley's the guy that beat Marigali. Do you know when he judo through him, and then Marigali, he blamed it on the fact that he tore his shoulder apart, that he lost, but he did darce him immediately after. So, and Pixley has a good darce. He won his previous match by darce as well, and it was at ADCC anyway.
Who do you think could win between Nicky Rod and Gordon Ryan? Because obviously Nicky Rod called him out. Has Gordon Ryan responded to that?
Yeah, he said he wants to.
He wants
to compete against Craig and Nicky on the same night.
Did we mention this last week?
We didn't do Gordon and Nicky.
No.
I think Nicky Rod of CJI versus Gordon Ryan of this ADCC just gone, I think Nicky beats him. I think Nicky Rod of CJI versus Gordon Ryan of ADCC 22. I think it's tough, and I would probably lean towards Gordon. Because Gordon, that was his best showing, 100%. But one thing you've got to realise, the last time they competed against one another, Nicky broke his foot, and Nicky broke Gordon's foot, I mean, and in the overtime he had him in a fully locked-in rear naked choke that Gordon couldn't escape.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still 2-0. I think it's two wins for Gordon. Gordon did submit him with a heel hook very quickly in ADCC as well, so it's a tough match. What do you think?
I don't know. It's difficult to say, like, mainly because I feel like obviously no one's ever beaten Gordon, but
He has lost, but not while he's
not
been...
in like ADCC.
No, it's not while he's been in his prime.
Yeah.
Not while he's... A few people have beat him. Leandro Lowe beat him. Vinny Magalhaes beat him. Who else? Felipe Pena, who he's just beat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Pena beat him twice.
Fucking hell. When? Ages ago.
2017 was the last time he beat him.
Shows my jiu-jitsu knowledge. I don't fucking watch any of it.
He won. He rear naked choked him once in a no time limit, and then Pena beat him again on points at ADCC. He got a back take on him when Gordon was trying to enter the legs, but then most recent times Gordon made him give up in a no time limit match, and then Gordon beat him on points at ADCC.
Made him give up?
Yeah, it
Does
was
that mean?
bizarre. It was a no time limit match, and
It's like tapping into pressure almost.
it was like 45 minutes in. There was no time limit, and it was just like pace was going up and up and up. To be fair to Pena, he did use this as an excuse, but it is a bit rough. Leandro Lowe, one of the other guys that Gordon has lost to, one of Pena's best friends, got shot in the head the night before and died. He was one of his best mates, and he said he used that as he said his head wasn't in the right place to compete. But then at the same time,
It's a lot of fucking bollocks, that. If anything, that'd spur you on more.
do you reckon?
Yeah. My mate got fucking shot. I'd be like, let's go.
Well,
Do you know what I mean?
it's like Mike Tyson versus Buster Douglas. Did you ever see that? It's Mike Tyson's first ever loss. Buster Douglas fought him in Japan, and everyone. It was when Mike Tyson was like Mike Tyson. I think he was 23.
Yeah.
He was the heavyweight champion. It was when he was like everyone was terrified of him, and Buster Douglas,
Buster Douglas. What a fucking name that is.
his mum died, like I think it was 7 weeks before the fight or something like that, and he said, like, it'll make me bloody tear up. He said, I think he said in like interviews that he's like, no matter what he does to me, it's not as bad as what I've just gone through.
Yeah,
and he was
100%,
like, he knocked Mike Tyson out in like the 9th,
Shit.
10th round, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
But he got dropped beforehand. It was a great fight, but he looked really, really good.
No, that's it. It gives you that. It gives you some form of motivation that you probably never knew you had. You know, like if it was like, oh, I'll do this for him. Like, that's what I mean. I'll never go through what I'm already going through, anything worse. It's true that, and that also could be a factor as to why Nicky Rod might have a better chance, because you're saying that he performed the best for ADCC. He's got a kid now, so if he's going with a newfound motivation that's stronger, and it goes back to that that conversation, well, that speech that Martin Stapleton did for us at that seminar that we did, where he was saying, you know, if you're lacking motivation for something but you want to do something, let's say you want to lose weight, if you just say I want to lose weight, like you're not relating it to anything that's actually like an emotional trigger. Whereas if you dig deep and think, why do I want to lose weight? And it's like, oh, like I don't want to be a fat shit. Why do you not want to be a fat shit? Because I want to be fit so I can go and play football with my son at a weekend. Why do you want to play football with your son? And the further down you dig, the more you have an emotional attachment to that motivation.
Yeah, definitely. That really resonated with me, because it's like, yeah, I want to be, even just looking at jiu-jitsu as an example, like, obviously we're here, like, why do you want to get good at jiu-jitsu? And it's like, oh, just because I want to, I'm allowed to want to do that. But then if you dig deep, it's like, I want to be able to defend myself. Do you want to just defend you? Maybe I want to be able to defend my family as well.
Yeah.
There's a whole other topic of jiu-jitsu being effective in a street fight here, because I know some people don't agree with that, but and as well, like health-wise as well, like doing exercise is important for your health. Just digging deep into stuff like that is like massive. It was dead good, that seminar.
Yeah, it was. It was really good. Who was it who just before they asked the question of whether it's effective in a street fight. This could be a fictional story, and I actually think it is a fictional story. And you'll know if it's a fictional story. You're good with movies as well, aren't you? Yeah. But like, someone was on the phone to the wife, and someone broke into the house and murdered the family. I'm thinking it's either The Punisher or it's an actual story.
In Punisher gets his family.
Is there a horror film that's like that?
Well, did you watch SAS Who Dares Wins?
Yes.
There's a guy on that it happened to. He said
that might be it.
It was like a schizophrenic guy outside the house, and he was on the phone to his wife.
Yeah.
And he said there was nothing he could do, and like he just heard his wife get murdered.
That'd be horrible.
Oh my God! He said he was like dead far away.
Is there anything worse? Obviously, if your kids were involved as well.
I think he did have a little girl.
I can't think of anything worse than that.
No, I couldn't.
That's your whole world, just
your whole world's gone.
Like that.
You're hearing your whole world go,
yeah.
and you can't even do anything about it.
Oh my God!
That would be horrendous.
I think you've got to be a special type of person to come back from that.
So is jiu-jitsu effective for a street fight?
I think, from my perspective, I think aspects of it could definitely be.
Well, I reckon, like, if you think about when you very first started jiu-jitsu,
yeah,
and you have come on fucking leaps and bounds since then, like 100%. This is pretty tight, but I remember your first session, and me and Joe were having a competition to see how many times we could tap you out in that first session. And I can't remember the numbers exactly. What was yours?
I think mine was like 8 or 9.
Yeah. But like I can't do that to you anymore. Like, don't get me wrong, I can turn it on and go a bit harder, but I can't do whatever I want anymore, really.
Yeah.
If anything, I think what you probably do at the minute is you make mistakes and I get to capitalise on them. Mm-hmm. I can't do whatever I want to you, but I can wait for you to make. I know there's going to be a mistake like within the next 10 seconds because you make quite a lot of them, but that's only because you're inexperienced and.
Everyone makes mistakes as well, though. It's almost like you don't know you're making mistakes until someone points it out to you. Like, if I roll with a black belt, they'd be like, "I've got you here because you did this."
Yeah.
Do you know, like that? I mean, the same thing had happened to me. It's only because we're more experienced than Jim. But it is, as we say, it's to the untrained eye, really. In terms of it being effective for a street fight, I'll argue this to the day I die. Yes, it's 100% effective in a street fight. 100%. It's the application of it that people get wrong. I don't get why as soon as people start talking about jiu-jitsu in a street fight, it's like, oh no, it's not effective because if you pull guard, you'll get your head kicked in. It's like, right, well, I won't pull guard then. It's like, that's fine. I'll just take you down.
I think people do this in life. Like, if they have an opinion, whatever opinion that might be, they'll think of an example that suits their opinion. So, we might talk about someone that wants to vote Labour, just something fucking random, right? And they'll think of an opinion that suits they'll think of something that the Tories have done that is so terribly wrong that that's the reason they vote Labour, but they don't look at the whole big picture of what we're all individuals, we can make decisions. So with jiu-jitsu, like exactly like you've said there, like I wouldn't fucking pull guard and start arse shuffling towards someone in a street fight. I'm just not going to do it. I'm also not going to stand there and sit there on someone's back trying to trap their arms and get them in a rear naked choke in a street fight. I'm probably going to fucking double leg the fucker, stamp on the face and run. But jiu-jitsu's helped me double leg them. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's aspects of it.
I think there's a lot of people that haven't done jiu-jitsu or any form of martial arts that comment on stuff like that.
100%.
That just say, well, nah, it wouldn't be any good.
Well, no, I'll just push you away. All right, push me away, dickhead. Do you know what I mean? It's like
a lot of people that obviously, like, I'm still a beginner.
Yeah.
But I can see like where it's like you were saying, it is the application of where it's where you could fit it in, where's it suited to if it was a real life situation.
Also, how do people expect, like, all right, I'll just do boxing, me, I'll be all right. Not saying boxing isn't effective for a street fight, 100% is, but I'll just do boxing, I'll be fine. All right, what if someone grabs you and starts choking you from behind?
Yeah.
I'll just move away.
Or someone takes you down.
Yeah, you need to be able to defend it. I think that's the most important thing about knowing grappling, is knowing how to defend it.
Yeah.
Generally, if you're in a street fight with a load of different people, you'd want to keep it on the feet. I mean, not to get.
I think there's an element of most martial arts that are effective. It's just the application. It's like with kickboxing and Muay Thai. Like, I don't do it, but I can see how like keeping the distance, you know, kicking people away.
Teeping someone could be the fucking the difference between living or dying.
Yeah.
Someone could come at you with a knife, and you fucking teep them in the chest, and they go, you fall over, and you run.
There's something on YouTube, the martial arts, like, it's weird. They start calling it like the martial arts, like street defense championships, and they put them in all these different scenarios where they gear them up and they have them all, like people from jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, MMA fighters, and they get them to fight loads of different people. It's sick, to be fair. It's on YouTube. Jeff Chan did it, and a bunch of, you know, like they got like famous.
He's a YouTuber, isn't he?
Yeah. MMA Shredded.
Used to love watching him for sparring, like tips and stuff.
Yeah.
And I get so much. Well, I don't spar anymore because I don't train striking anymore. But when I did,
yeah,
I used to love his shit.
But there was some things that came up where it was like there was only one guy that succeeded in not getting like stabbed in a situation. Obviously, they weren't using a real knife. They were using like something that marks you.
Yeah.
But he went like straight away. He head kicked this guy, so he like tied up with the guy and like went 2-on-1 with the arm. And then as soon as they disengaged, he head kicked the guy, and he ended up catching him in the arm, and he dropped the knife. And it's like, as much as obviously, if anyone's ever got a knife, you're not trying to fight him if you've got an opportunity to run away. But when I was watching that video, people were saying like it's never as simple as that, because what if you're with your mum and they can't run away?
Yeah.
If they're like, if they're slower than you, it's like, I'm not leaving my mum to get stabbed. Do you know what I mean?
I think a lot of people, like, I mean, we've had this conversation not too long ago, haven't we, about, it's like some people just stand there and almost accept it, you know, just let it happen. You know, like, say like the conversation we had about, you know, what would you do if someone broke in your house and they were trying to attack your family and that. You know what I'm on about here.
Yeah.
It's like they're just not going to fucking do anything.
We were talking about our girlfriends' opinions on this, and they were like, I thought I had a good idea, to be fair, but Sally said I couldn't do this, but I said I'd boil a kettle and run upstairs and pour it on their head when they were trying to get in.
I don't think I'd boil a kettle. If someone was trying to get into my house,
just start frying some oil and then we'll come in and chuck it
I know,
out.
yeah. Proper prepping. It'd be like a Home Alone episode or something, wouldn't it? Or a Home Alone movie. Just going back to, very briefly, the jiu-jitsu, there's something I want to mention that I forgot to mention. Did you see the little scrap that HS Tiki-Toki had with that Zerka?
When he rear naked chokes him or
I
something.
don't think he rear naked chokes him.
He gets him on the floor, doesn't he?
Yeah. So there's like a little punching like scuffle.
I saw a video where they referred to HS as an MMA fighter, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, it's awful. But then like HS ends up on his back in this Zerka's close guard. But then HS was going around saying like he battered Zerka. He landed a few punches, don't get me wrong. Zerka fell on the floor. HS ended up getting rolled onto his back, if I remember rightly. And then Zerka was in HS's close guard. But imagine if Zerka knew what we'd done today in this one session. From that point, opening close guard, passing, and then knew like just ended up mounting him. Like your jiu-jitsu there has got you into a dominant position for a street fight.
That's a good point. People don't, as Jim said before, so many people who've never trained comment on it. So like they're all like, oh, yeah, I'll just move away. When they come in, like boxers say it all the time. Yeah. As soon as they shoot in, I'd uppercut them. It's like, Do you think it's that easy? Why do you not see that all the time in MMA then?
Yeah.
So I was going to touch on this earlier on, but do you know, like, from the perspective of someone that hasn't done many sports, and like other people that just don't do them, it's very easy to look at things and think, yeah, that looks easy. And watching it, yeah, because someone that knows what they're doing, it looks smooth and that. But when it comes to doing it, it's a different thing entirely. And it's almost like, not that you're being thick, but it's like almost like your common sense isn't necessarily there.
I had a similar situation when I first started jiu-jitsu. I was 19 when I first tried grappling properly, and I got tapped a few times in a round by a 13-year-old kid, and I went home and I genuinely nearly cried because I'd watched MMA for that long. I remember thinking, I'll be pretty decent at this. I remember thinking, like, I might already be like a blue belt. I got battered.
I had the opposite. I had the complete opposite, didn't I? Because I got dragged to Evade with one of the guys that we used to work with, and he used to give it the big one all the time and be like, "Oh, I'm fucking thick at jiu-jitsu."
Well, guess who that is, Jim?
And then we went and trained at Evade, and I did like a little one-to-one induction session, which was more about striking. And then me and him went down to, because you used to just be able to go and use, it was like an open mat session, but there was only us two there, and we rolled. And obviously, first time I've ever rolled, but because I'd watched WWE, like shit like that, like it actually helps. It's weird.
You'd done a little bit of judo as a kid, hadn't you?
Yeah.
But not like...
But no submissions. Judo as a kid, there was no submissions involved. It was just throwing. Literally just throws.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I think I remember you saying that you started on the floor with Zandy.
Oh, yeah. You said his name.
Oh, God.
Yeah. He ain't going to fucking watch it, and if he does, he can fuck off. But yeah, I think we started on the floor, because I was going to say I didn't know any takedowns, but I am all right at takedowns. But yeah, and I fucking subbed him about 3 or 4 times in a round, and I'd never trained before, and he'd been training for 6 months or so, I think. Not to say that someone training for 6 months was any good, but it just shows that having that natural athleticism and training some form of grappling when you were younger, like I say, it was all stand up, there was no submissions involved, so I didn't know any submissions. The only submissions that I knew were from watching the UFC or watching WWE. I say WWE like the Boston Crab. It works in jiu-jitsu.
Don't be mentioning them to Jim.
I didn't even get you a Boston Crab.
I was fucking waiting for it. It didn't happen.
It did. It happened just behind where you're sat.
This is why we need to set up the fucking camera for every roll. And because that little fucking thing I got over there, that would have been sick.
The little rolly thing.
Yeah, that was absolutely sick, that, not to blow my own trumpet, but I did that and finished you, and I was like, yeah, let's fucking go, that's well good.
The Boston Crab. Yeah, I was buzzing with that. Only a few weeks ago, wasn't it?
I tell you what, when it's on, it fucking hurts. How many WWE ones are actually legitimate submissions?
I don't know how many there are. I didn't watch WWE religiously as a kid.
You watched it a bit.
I'd say quite a few, to be fair. Like,
They probably won't feel nice.
I got to...
Sweet Chim.
The Undertaker used to do a triangle. Or was it like a...
The Undertaker doing a triangle?
He did some...
I don't think he did a triangle.
Didn't he do an omoplata or a go-go plata or something?
Maybe an omoplata or something like that.
I remember...
Fucking triangle. The Undertaker.
I'll tell you what is effective. I know for certain Sweet Chin music's effective. It's booting someone in the face.
Well, yeah.
It's just a sidekick.
It's the ones where it's the ones in WWE where they set it up. Like, it's actually believable to an extent. Like, when you're a kid anyway, obviously not now. But like, things like the 619 Rey Mysterio's finisher. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, where he like
gets him on the
runs
ropes.
through the ropes and
and
boots
then
him.
he gets it. Yeah, and then it's like, it's just so cringe. Even like the RKO or Sweet Chin music, like the way they set them up, it's so cringy.
It's just choreographed like stunt work in it.
Well, they'd hurt.
With acting mixed
They'd
in.
obviously hurt. I wouldn't want someone to RKO me. I wouldn't be happy. Fucking hell. But like, it's just unlikely it's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? If I'm fighting someone and I'm resisting, if I get RKO'd, then I'm giving my purple belt back. I'm not.
Can you imagine the reaction? You get up with the face like a fucking thunder.
Imagine if we went out in a night out in Spain, Jamie comes with and he sees you get fucking RKO'd and then Boston crabbed by someone that's never trained before.
I'd be gutted by a fucking professional wrestler.
By some little Irish guy in Cabo Roig.
That'd be rough, that. Imagine in like the very first UFC when Gracie won it, he was representing jiu-jitsu, he goes up against some Mexican wrestler and just gets absolutely battered.
Well, we won't be doing jiu-jitsu, will we?
No, we'd be doing lucha libre or whatever it is.
Lucha Libre.
Yeah. That's actually supposed to be pretty brutal, like, you know, like actual lucha libre. It's not.
It's not balance.
No. I think it's. They used to have like competitions against jiu-jitsu, like where it was quite competitive and stuff. But there was something I wanted to mention before about. Do you know about the effectiveness of jiu-jitsu in a street fight? A good analogy that I wanted to kind of move back to is, do you know, like everyone pushes back against jiu-jitsu in a street fight, but no one ever pushes back against the stuff that they'd argue for. Similar to what you said before about like they'll always argue their point and never see any bad in their perspective. Whereas like boxing's fantastic for self-defense.
Yeah.
But they don't look at the flaws of like they act like everything in boxing works in a street fight, and it doesn't. First off, you got big gloves. You can't defend your head the same way without.
You can break your hands easily, can't you? Without.
Yeah, and people's punches will slip through.
Yeah.
And also the way you stood, you get your legs kicked if someone knows how to kick. It's just, I know I was going back. I had that in my mind for so long, and I just needed to.
No, it's all right. It is true though. Like I think just going on to like the whole topic of like people who just like fight their own agenda. Like people just cannot see other people's perspective on anything, and
You've got to have a completely open mind and be able to just discuss your opinions.
it's just so rare to come by, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
you can have disagreements and arguments with people over stuff, and it's like you can almost say to them like, I can understand your point of view, like I can see where you're coming from, and even explain their point of view, and then say, but I think I have this opinion, and then you're fucking wrong.
Yeah.
You're smart. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You both have different opinions and not be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it. It's an opinion, isn't it? That's it's in the definition of the word opinion. Like you're allowed to have your own view on a certain topic, and you know we're all different. We all have different minds. Like women will have different opinions than men on certain topics. Some women might have the same opinions as men on certain topics, but everyone's different. Like us three don't agree on everything.
No.
By far.
But I think it just shows a lack of open-mindedness and a lack of intelligence, really, to not be able to talk about disagreement. Because at the end of the day, like, it's a lack of understanding of what disagreements are. Like, people act like, if you disagree with me on a certain topic, some people act like, they're arguing, they're falling out over this. We're not. We just don't agree on a topic, on a certain opinion. And it's, you know, as I said, I just think it's definitely a sign of like a lack of open-mindedness and lack of intelligence.
No, 100%. I don't know how long we've been going on for.
We've been going for quite a while. The clock's not on, so I can't even look.
But I mean, we started off. We keep trying to go back to the situation of talking about what we were speaking about before we actually started recording, about like your perspective from a white belt. So like, how do you feel a year down? Have you got any like struggles? Have you got anything that like frustrates you? Like, where do you feel like you're at in your jiu-jitsu journey?
At the minute, so I've got the basic grasp of it, but I've got frustrations with. Do you know when like you be taught how to defend a certain position, or you know get out the shit when you're in it, but then I don't know. It's like your mind stalls, and then before you know it, you're in that position. It's like, and then it'll happen again.
We were talking about this before, wasn't we? Where it's like there's almost like a buffering period.
Yeah. I mean, it don't happen with everyone, but it will happen with a few people.
Probably does happen with everyone if they've got no concept of what to do. But that's the thing, is having concepts instead of just thinking, I'm trying to get this move, I'll do this move. Think of like, if you don't have something specific in mind, just think, stay on top, wrestle for position, put him on his back. Do you know? Think of the general things that are going to be good for you.
Yeah.
Getting their shoulders flat on the mat, dependent on the position. If you're in the guard, try and remove the controls that they've got of you, whether it's butterfly, close guard, whatever.
I suppose, though, if you're thinking about how to get out of positions or how to try and get in positions, try and set up submissions in a, literally how you're taught, it makes it robotic and not necessarily realistic.
Yeah, I know what you're saying there. It's like, if you look at it as like a step-by-step thing, that it definitely could be quite robotic. But that's what we were saying before as well. Like, I was saying about 90% of my jiu-jitsu is probably unconscious at the minute. I remember John Danaher saying about, like, you should have trained the things in the gym so much that it's just everything comes naturally.
Yeah.
It's like, at first, you've got to tell a beginner to put a crossface on, whereas now when I'm in side control, boom, straight on it. Do you know what I mean? You got to train people to close the guard. You do that naturally now without even thinking.
That's one thing that I've noticed more than anything is that close guard, especially with beginners. Like, they'll open the guard like without knowing that they shouldn't. If you can open your guard, don't get me wrong. If you've got something that you're setting up, or you're opening your guard for a reason, but like they'll sit there with an open guard when you're in between the legs.
Got a quick point there. Sometimes as well, when you're in that. So if I've got someone in the close guard, like I've had it before where I'm like, right, what the hell do I do now? And then just for that split second, because you're that busy fucking grabbing their arms and trying to work out what to do next, you do just let it slip unintentionally, and then that's it. You're opening, they're out. Like people they're on it with what to do.
Yeah, I'd say if it's unintentional, like it happens to the best of us sometimes, where you might, like when we were drilling before, my fucking ankles were aching holding close guard on you because you're a fucking big fat bastard. So like my ankles were like, and I've got dead short stumpy legs, so to like hold close guards quite for a prolonged period of time, especially when we're drilling techniques over and over again, it can get quite fucking taxing on my ankles. And there might be a point where you open up your close guard, which is fine, but you need to just sort of get into the habit of thinking, oh, okay, well, I've opened my close guard. You know, like before when you was doing the drilling, and as you were passing, because you was passing in a specific way, I was able to like retain half guard. Yeah. So it's like just not giving up at the fact that you've opened your close guard and then thinking, oh, I'll just let them pass, I'll just get to the next position. Like, you know that you need to stop them getting past your legs anyway. So you can stay there with an open guard, that's absolutely fine, but just do everything else following that to stop them getting past your legs.
You said you did boxing as a kid, didn't you?
Yeah.
And we've done boxing as adults.
Get off.
Protective over your mic now.
I know, it's just easier when because otherwise I'll try and talk and it'll be like that.
Well, what I was just going to say about in boxing, do you think about having your hands up, or do you just do it?
What you just do it when you're
same thing.
Boxing, yeah.
There's a few things in jiu-jitsu that you just have to think of that way. It's like you close guard as soon as someone's in between your legs. Just even if it's just to reset while you think of what to do next, if you need to, close your guard round them. Make sure you're in a secure position. Yeah.
Defense.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Same thing as like when you're on your feet. You don't think about having your elbows tucked in. You just need to do it. Okay. It's not something I'll be worried about you if you have to constantly think about.
Yeah.
Keeping your elbows tucked in.
No, and then like pulling your knees up to your chest as well. Like if someone's in your close guard, don't let them just sit up. Like if you bring your knees up to your chest, it'll make them fall forward, and then you can start looking at attacking their arms or doing whatever. But if they're posturing up, they can open your close guard. Like today when we were doing the drilling, every single close guard opening, really, apart from the handcuff one that we were doing today, really they'll be trying to posture up. And if they're trying to posture up, as soon as they try and posture up or stand up, just bring your knees to the chest and just to break the posture. If you can break the posture and then control the head and maybe get like an overhook as well, and you can keep them close to you, you're in control there. You're in quite a good controlling position. And then you can obviously start. I think that's the difficulty for you though, is like I'm shit from close guard. Like I'm not someone that fights off my back. Like I'll look for sweeps, and I'll usually, my favourite position is probably half guard with a knee shield to look to progress from that position. But close guard is difficult, especially when you're not that athletic. Like, not to shit all over you, but like you're not the fucking most flexible person in the world. No. I'm not. Like, but you get some people where they are really flexible, and like Dan, for example, close guard from Dan, he'll have loads more attacks than than I might be able to have. Not be able to have. I'll be able to learn pretty much whatever. But I do feel like you have benefits when you're a bit more flexible from places like close guard. Like arm bars and triangles are a bit easy to go for.
Sociopath behaviour. That your favourite position being half guard with a knee shield.
Not good, is it?
No.
I'll have to retrain my favourite position. No, but I like to progress from that position.
Yeah.
That is the difference between sociopathic behaviour and someone who likes half guard.
I like a good butterfly guard, me. That's probably my favourite. One thing I did want to mention before we finish is last week did a seminar with Gracie. I didn't teach him, he taught me.
I imagine.
No, he, it was actually for a guy who, what was it? It was a guy at Stealth. He's a brown belt, and he's just been diagnosed with the same illness Stephen Hawking's got. I forgot what it's called.
I don't know. Is it
Motor
neuron?
Yeah, motor neuron disease. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't butcher it that bad.
Yeah, well, you remembered it better than me and him. Motor neuron disease, yeah. And it was dead nice actually because Hodger did it. He knows Steve, the coach from Stealth. Because Steve graded and got all of his belts in Brazil. He trained at the same gym as Hodger. I think there's a picture actually of Steve as a white belt and Hodger as like a purple belt. Yeah. And he's full of the gym like Henzo, Gracie, Braulio Estima, all like the legends of jiu-jitsu. Like Steve got his graded and got his belts under Carlos Gracie Jr. And it's like the hub of jiu-jitsu in I can't remember if it was Rio. It was somewhere in Brazil. I can't remember if that's where it is. Well, I'll do some research on that and bring it to next week. I'll tell you
What was it you was doing in your seminar?
We were doing like top pressure from side control, like isolating arms, passing over to mount and finishing with Kimuras. But Hodger actually said, to be honest with you, it was the concepts really that really blew my mind. Because he was saying like, he did like a Q&A bit at the end and he said, he only asked one question, no one got it right. Actually, I think one person did get it, but he kind of elaborated on it. He said, what's the difference between a advanced technique and a beginner technique? And everyone was just shouting like, position, and then like, just loads of crap answers. And he was just straight away just like, no, like stone-faced. And it ended up, someone shouted details, and he said the number of details to a technique is what makes a difference. He said anything can be an advanced technique. Like bridge trap and roll. That's probably the most beginner-friendly technique, I would say, that I can think of. I don't know if you've got any others, but say bridge trap and roll is very self-explanatory. Not many steps. Let's say you drill it to the point where you can get that on black belt world champions. Yeah. I mean, it is effective. I would be surprised if there was a system where someone was systematically getting bridge trap and rolls constantly. But it's like Hodger was saying, like, just why do you see black belt world champions using arm bars against other black belt world champions? And he said it's because they've refined that technique for so many years, that they've got so good at it that they know the intricate little things where like the weight just being slightly off can make the biggest difference. He said jiu-jitsu is a game of inches, and like the difference, like me being here to being here could make the difference from me getting a tap and not tapping. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think sometimes I can, when you were saying it before we started recording, like I was relating to it, and I was thinking, there's so many times where we've done a session in a class, and then a couple of weeks later, I'll try that technique, and I'll be like, it's not fucking working. And then we'll revisit that session, and it's because I've missed like 2 details out of it. And, it's similar to today. Really, really good example, actually, is today when we were doing that handcuff opening the close guard. And a detail that I always used to forget was putting my head on the side of the other people. Like I would, my opponent, like I would get that handcuff grip, I would stand up and I would start walking around, but I'd find that I would just keep walking. I could probably walk around in circles and circles and circles and never actually open the guard. And it's like, why can't I get it open? And then today you added that detail, and you taught us the detail of making sure your head's on the same side as the side that you're trying to pass. And then obviously you can use your hand to like peel the knee away, and it stops them turning into you.
Fixes have been placed a little bit, don't they?
Yeah, and that's exactly the point. It's like there'll be so many more details to that technique that me and you and Jim and no one at the gym probably even ever knows about, because there'll be like a black belt detail that we've never touched on.
It's getting a feeling as well for certain techniques as well. So like that one, I wasn't stood up.
You were fucking face planting the floor. That's what you're doing. Honestly, right?
It didn't feel like I was. So,
it did to me.
But then
I was on the bottom. Hang on.
It felt entirely different.
I was lay on my back, right, and you was trying to pass, and you passed my hand underneath, and then I was like, right, Jim, stand on your head, and I felt your chin underneath my shoulder.
You like that?
And I was like, yeah, he must be like this on the floor. No fucking wonder he can't.
It was only my forehead on the floor. I wasn't like fucking licking the fucking floor.
I beg to differ.
He was watching. I could feel your chin tucked nicely underneath my shoulder here, and I said, "You fucking, is your head on the floor properly?" Yeah. I keep slipping. I'm like, fucking put your fucking head on the floor. And then he came along and was like, Jim, what you doing? But yeah, like you do need to get a feel of things, and I think that's where sometimes your learning style helps, because like I will be able to watch a technique without them even doing any instruction, and be able to get it and understand it. And I don't know, like, would you say you're a similar learner to that, or like, do you feel like you've got a different learning style?
I do have a visual and like doing.
You have to like figure it out and feel for it.
If you just told me to do it, or fucking wrote it down, like, it won't be the same.
Wrote it down. Imagine coming to a jiu-jitsu class and the session's just written on the whiteboard. Like, there you go, off your fucking pot.
Give everyone a notepad, like a planner for the week.
Right on the board, fucking, yeah, do that.
You'd get some freak in the corner that just picks it up instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea, actually. What about like having like a little school planner?
The laziest fucking session going for a coach, just write it down, right, go on.
Maybe it's not lazy, if you actually, because people would view ecological jiu-jitsu on the face of things seem lazy from the coach, because you don't give them any technical instruction. But it's actually not, because it's thoughtful, and you're trying to like provoke reactions out of people.
Yeah.
Naturally. So I've felt sometimes like I don't want to come across as lazy making a session like that, but everyone enjoys them, the ecological constraints based ones.
Do you think
you give feedback though when you're doing it? I was just on about if you just sat on your ass. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to give much. There's supposed to be minimal feedback.
I think for an ecological approach, what would be really good is doing, like, let's say we've open close guard today. We've done a little session on opening close guard, and then we could do that on the Tuesday, and then on the Friday, obviously I know we've got a syllabus with all this, but like on the Friday, do an ecological approach from that position. So you've taught people some opening the guard, some passing, some this, some that, and then you could do an ecological approach the following session, not give any instruction, and let them sort of work it out from there.
I tell you what, it'd be interesting to see as well. I know it wouldn't be a fair test because everyone's different abilities, but it'd be interesting to see how the people get on who showed up on Tuesday morning versus the people who didn't.
Yeah, doing an ecological session.
Yeah,
it would be good, that, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Who was it who did the ecological approach again? You remember who it was?
Greg Souders.
Did he like invent it?
No. So it's a method of learning. It's not a jiu-jitsu specific thing.
Okay.
It's a method of learning that apparently like a basketball and American football teams use it as a method of training. And apparently it's just a very good way of learning for certain people. I think it's about being a bit more, it's about being intuitive, it's about learning on the go. And it's kind of like the same as what I was saying before about, an arm bar that we've learnt in class never looks the same as one that you apply in training. It's because there's loads of different things that go into it. But what Greg said, I'm trying to get this in. Yeah, you fucking going. I'm trying.
Every breathing down the back.
But Greg Souders was saying like, we're not training you to do an arm bar. He said, what is an arm bar? Like it's
That's what we're saying
you've got a preconceived notion of what an armbar is. What they're training you to do is all the little things that make up an armbar. They're training you to effectively control and pin someone to the floor using your legs. They're training you to break the grip using your arms in maybe a specific way. But do you know what I mean? They're training the little things that make up an armbar, as opposed to they're training the skill, not the technique. That's like a brief way of saying it.
It's making you think though as well, putting you in a situation where you can do it in different ways and at different angles. I suppose like you find out how much you're learning. Yeah, you're actually learning.
I haven't,
depending on how you perform in that situation.
I haven't done a session like that for a while. I think I'm gonna have to break them back out. They're good. I like them.
No, I like them. I think they're really good sessions, and I think the ones that we've done, it definitely promotes that problem solving. Like we were saying to you before, weren't we? Like that, it's that sort of buffering period that you've got at the minute, and it's like you're trying to think about a class or relate back to a class where you've been like, oh, when did we learn about opening the close guard? What did I need to do? I needed to put my knuckles in here, or hold under the armpits, and this is how I did it. Instead of that, it's like if we just did an ecological approach session where it was you're in someone's close guard, get out of it, and you'd do anything you could, and you'd figure that out yourself, and it'd promote that sort of like and also like drilling. You don't get an feedback from your opponent that you would in a roll, whereas in the ecological sessions you will be doing.
So with that, you don't want to make it too broad. You wouldn't just drop someone in the close guard and say get out. You would want a specific way of doing it. It'd be like I'd put Jim in close guard against you. Your goal would be, I don't know, if we were trying to work on certain types of sweeps, maybe it'd be to use your legs primarily to sweep him, without touching him using your arms. Whereas his goal would be very specific to maybe not pass, but maybe just stand up. Okay. and stay on his feet for 10 seconds without being taken down to the floor.
I'm not allowed to use my hands.
Well, I don't know. That's one I've just come up off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But you're trying to really narrow down the route that you go.
I think that would be good, because what that would do though then is like if it was that, for example, and the first step was Jim's got to stand up, I'm only allowed to use my hands but maintain close guard, I'm not allowed to do any leg sweeps. Yeah. If it was that, as soon as Jim stands up, if he doesn't control my hands, or let's say he can't use his hands, he'll find out in his own way that I'm going to grab all of his ankles, and then from doing that for like 2.5 minutes or however long, he'll be like, oh, if I stand up and I don't control his arms, I'm gonna get my ankles grabbed.
I mean, the way I've always thought about it, like something as simple as in a different game, let's say you're in half guard, your one goal as the person on top is to not let any one of his arms get underneath your armpits and get an underhook. Can you imagine doing that for an hour? Can you imagine how hard it'd be to underhook someone after they've trained that for an hour? Yeah. Like not letting someone underhook them. Like they just take that with them then. It's a very simple concept, but like it's just basically like the leg lock one we did, where it was like I was in X guard and you had to pass, but you weren't allowed to touch your hands on the floor. You got swept over a lot from the perspective of the person on top, because your hands are very useful in X guard, but it makes your balance so much better in the long run when you're actually drilling from that position, and like makes you fight the feet. It makes you try different stuff. I was demonstrating stripping the legs.
I hope that's on camera, because that looked fucking well weird. Sorry, you do this though. You did something like this in the last episode, didn't you?
I bottled it in the last episode right at the start. I remember that.
You did do something in the last episode. I'm not going to refer back to it. If anyone's watching, you have to go back to the last episode and watch it. What you did in the first like 3 minutes, you was explaining the belts, and that was quite funny. Anyway, should we wrap up? 'Cause I think the clock's not working, but I think we've probably been going for about a fucking hour. Jesus, this episode's gone on for a while, and I'm probably about to get a staph infection.
Yes.
So's Jim as well. You're all right though.
I'm all right. Yeah. Don't pay attention to these. Definitely shower straight after jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, we might be fucked after this. I've got for him, because on my feet, if you want to know, that's why I've got the socks on.
Why are you mentioning that? You fucking
I don't want to
freak.
look like a fucking utter. It just trains with the socks on.
Oh yeah, I've got syphilis as well. Why would I mention this? I don't actually, but I'm just saying.
On that note.
Goodbye.